Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Katie, it's you and I today. Everyone else is, I think they're looking for an early vacation. So, Katie, welcome. But we have a ton of information we're going to go through. Thank you all for joining us. We respect your time. We'll get into it. Please continue to ask those questions, and we will attempt to answer them the best we can. Certificates, be sure and download those. Keep track of those. It memorializes your training. SBA 7A activity year-to-date. So when we say year-to-date, we're talking calendar year-to-date. So we're comparing what, Katie, December 16th, 20 versus December 16th, 2019, which seemed to be a generation ago.
So it looks like, yeah, it looks like most of our audience got this right. I don't know how many people were on the Connect call yesterday. Maybe some of them cheated by looking at the answers there. But it is down a bit. I think we'll have some slides here in a bit that show more exact, but it is down in 7A. Yeah,
and down, and the numbers are 70% say down, 16% say up, 14% says remains the same. The number is actually pretty drastic. It's down 27% altogether. So we will, there's a variety of reasons for that, but 7A is down. So when you're looking at your budget and you're looking at your BDOs, and if you're doing better than 27%, put it this way, if you stayed level from last year, you're going to be okay. You know, that's a pretty good accomplishment, but obviously PPP has sucked up a lot of those dollars, and we have other issues as well. What about 504? What's going on with 504? Do you think it's up, down, or remains the same? Down 19, up 53. Katie, the correct answer remains the same, 28%. 1 in 4 got that right.
Right. It's only down a very, very tiny bit. That could be that it's really not a significant amount. So I would say it definitely remains the same.
Yeah, 0.03%. I mean, it's the same level. So 504, the numbers show 504 has remained strong, and 7A is down a little bit. It'll be very interesting a year from now to discuss this. If there's the proposed changes go through, what happens with 7A, my prediction, I don't think I'm going too much out on a limb, will be 7A will definitely increase in 2021. What about franchise lending? The numbers are, I'll give you a hint. Franchise activity 7504, the numbers are about the same, so that's why we combine them. But do you think franchise lending is down, up, remains the same? Down 69%, up 10%, remains the same 21%. That is correct. And Katie, that's a big number that franchise lending is down for calendar year 2020.
It is. And we were just discussing this right before the show. I think the reason for that is probably looking at what businesses are closed right now or struggling right now. There are a lot of franchise businesses like restaurants and hotels and things like that. So that's probably a major reason for that. A lot of projections right now say soon after everything gets back up and running, it'll probably bounce up again. But for right now, it is way down.
Yeah, and because of the prevalence, obviously, restaurants, for the obvious reason, lenders are gun-shy about lending to restaurants. Hospitality, hotels, that is a lot of the franchise as well. And that's why you're down 40%. Gyms, the massage and the masseuse facilities have all been closed. So that makes some sense. Now, as I've said before, that what's interesting on that is, and I'm certainly not an expert on this, and I don't pretend to be, but if the vaccine works and consumers start having confidence, is really what this is about, and things start opening up, then we're looking at the new normal pretty quickly. But none of us are going to say when that's going to happen, and you can read the news, and people are predicting anywhere from 3 months to 5 years. Katie, I won't put you on the spot unless you wish to jump on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to predict exactly. I've been reading up on it. I don't think it's as close to the 5 years. I know some businesses are projecting stuff like that. I think it'll be a little bit sooner than that, but it's probably going to take a little while.
But I hope so. Hey, let's go through these charts. This comes off the call. We encourage you to do that call. SBA does a 7A call on a quarterly basis and a 504. I believe they're capped at lines, so be respectful of their traffic. That's one reason why we don't promote those. Is nothing against SBA, but in fact, I reached out a while ago and said, you want us to promote? They said, no, please don't, because we don't have the bandwidth. But if you want to do that, talk to your local district office and they'll figure a way to do it. Let's talk about these mission programs. How do you like these numbers?
Microloans are down. I would expect these numbers, honestly, especially with coming right off of PPP and things like that. You're just going to see a little bit of a drop because of that. But I think eventually they're probably going to go back up and meet where they were before.
Yeah, and looking at those loans, and you compare the 5 million PPP loans, obviously there were a lot of smaller loans in that. So that's why I'm not too concerned about the drop of these programs. And we do know, Katie, that the average loan size isn't in the micro loan area, but it's certain under 150. Offhand, what is that bucket? What's under 150, Katie?
I believe that was more than 75, 85, something like that. It was a large portion of those loans. So I believe that's going to be really what makes these numbers go down here, is that you were seeing some of these places were doing loans for only a few $1,000s really. So that's going to really push into that microloan section there.
Yeah, and for a lot of sole proprietorships, the sole proprietor salon owner, the salon owner, the hair stylist, the barbershops, this certainly makes a lot of sense. Hey, what's going on with Congress?
So it's just a bit of an update. The Senate did not officially introduce the bill that we were hoping on being introduced last night. It sounds like they are still working on it, however, and what they're really talking about right now is probably dropping those contended items off the stimulus package and just trying to pass the portion that they can all agree upon. McConnell said yesterday evening that the Senate is not planning on leaving Washington for the holidays until some form of coronavirus aid package is passed.
Good.
So it is likely that will be addressed very soon. Of course, they're still working on their spending bill and things like that as well. So they've got to handle that, obviously, ideally before Friday. Otherwise, they're going to have to continue that as well. So it's looking like they are still working on this, and it's really just a matter of making sure that everybody was going to agree on it and it's going to actually pass.
Well, that's good. They have a hard deadline that obviously staff in Congress wants to go home, so there's a hard deadline on let's get this done. Katie, in your readings and talking to people, do you see it happening this week or roll over to next week? What's the
based on just what I've been reading, especially about some of the leaders, I would say they're definitely trying to get it done this week. However, it could very well roll over into next week, especially if that spending bill gets held up a little bit. But it sounds like, based on when they were reporting these things, it sounds like they were working really late last night. So I would say they're still working late and actually working on this. They're not taking their breaks too much.
And I know, Katie, that's
I really
an
don't know.
unfair question. I understand that, but I have to ask it. You notice I'm not answering it because I predicted July 3rd, so I'm not the person to ask on that. But there is good news. We had a great recap yesterday with Chris Hearn on how that affects 7A and 504. And as soon as in fact, I think what we'll do as soon as this is introduced, and we'll do a news flash. Obviously, we'll talk about it on the show, but as soon as we have more specifics of what's happening. But so far, all the proposals are good news in terms of blanket forgiveness, they're talking less than 150. There's no tax implication on these PPP loans. So there's a PPP 2.0 draw, and a lot of the details have yet to be worked out. But in terms of big picture from a congressional level, we see a lot of good things happening. Hey, real quick, do a recap, Katie, on the SBA quarterly 504 Connect call. Make sure if you're a 504 lending that you're up to date on all of these. And I'm not asking you to read all of it, but what are the highlights? What are the things that the lenders really need to know what's happening?
So for the most part, they went over all of the procedural notices and information notices that have come out in the past couple of months that are relating to 504. Some of these are also for 7A as well. Most of them are just updates on the extensions on deadlines for a lot of these CARES Act and COVID emergency rules, things like underwriting during pandemic, things like that. As we know, all of those are getting extended several months here. So most of those are that. They were saying they are still getting a lot of people trying to make phone calls to try to get information. And they said because a lot of their workers are working remote, they were asking that people use the emails that are in the new SOP in the appendix. So if you want a quick answer, they were saying that's the best way to get a hold of them right now. So that's probably the major thing. Of course, they're still talking about things like fingerprinting, but we've discussed that over time. So that's really not any changes. So just really make sure that you know all these procedural notices, know what they are containing. Again, like I said, most of them are just extensions to things you've probably already been following. So just keep up to date on those.
And we have this PowerPoint in the dashboard. I think Joseph mailed it to you, so feel free to copy this and share this with whoever you need. Michael asked the question, do you know how long the SBA debt relief payments will be for the bill? And are all SBA loans eligible? Michael, I have no clue.
Yeah, some people have seen drafts of the bill, but it has not been introduced yet. So as soon as that's been introduced, I'll skim through there and try to get the answer for you.
Yeah, the answer is there is something out there. We don't know what it looks like. So, hey, let's go to our fun part of the year. And I believe we've covered, these are the last three that we want to cover and we want to acknowledge, and congratulations. What we do is we pick out lenders of the year. And in the past, we've had a nice little luncheon. Sorry, gang, no lunch this year. But maybe next year we can combine everybody. But tell us about Ross, Katie.
So Ross is a senior vice president and market manager at Pursuit CDC in Albany, New York. He's worked really what we saw and why we selected him is he was working 7 days a week trying to help process those PPP loans. And at the same time, he really is first and foremost a 504 lender. And he still managed to do 16 504 loans while helping his team process all these PPP loans. This was a banner year for Ross. He did over $25 million in 504 in 2020, and has just been really focused on that, as well as trying to make sure that small businesses also had this access to PPP.
Great. Congratulations, Ross. And this is an award I particularly am fond of because I'm so... This is so critical, but Tammy, congratulations. Very committed to rural America. And you follow the problems that rural America has with migration out, with lack of health care, just a lot of issues that are out there. So, but Tammy's done some pretty cool things down in Florida. What has she done?
Sure. So Tammy is the director of SBA and USDA department at Centennial Bank in Florida. And the testimony we received is just amazing. She went above and beyond to help rural small businesses have access to PPP helping her team make over 8,000 PPP applications. She's just really went out there and helped, especially those rural small businesses, gain access to the program, and that's why we selected her.
Very good, Tammy. Congratulations. And our final award of the year is our Coleman Business Development Officer of the Year. Without these people, they're the ones out there driving the business to the institution. Stephanie, congratulations. Why did we choose Stephanie, Katie?
So Stephanie is out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, from Stone Bank. And she's very deeply connected with family-owned businesses. And there was just this great story toward the end of one of the testimonies that was talking about how she helped a client get a loan. And shortly after he got the loan, he passed away from COVID. And so she helped the family take over the business, and they now have a very successful business. But she helped walk them through that whole process and was very sensitive through all that. So that's just amazing testimony, and congratulations, Stephanie.
Yeah, and that's shows how important our job is, your job is, that you're not pushing paper, you're impacting people's lives by getting money out there, by making people's dreams come true, and helping the local economy. So anyway, congratulations to all our winners. We'll do I think we've announced them all now, Katie.
Mm-hmm. So we'll probably do a recap. I don't know, probably not next week, because I know a lot of people are gone next week, but we will probably do a recap on all those.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and feel free to get for 2021. Think about nominating, and just as a pro tip, what we'd love to see is a letter supporting what they've done from someone from the C-suite. It can be a borrower, it can be anybody, and we'd like, obviously we're looking for who is impacting Main Street at all these different levels. Hey, we're starting our summit tomorrow, and it's going to be great news on the secondary market. A ton of information that we have, and you can see we're going to be talking about SBA Future 7A 504. We're going to talk about what's going on with SBA. There's some and how the pools look. John Winnick is he was on yesterday, I believe. He's going to give a little overview of what his opinion is of how a Biden administration will impact the SBA secondary market, which of course how it also impacts of all SBA lending loans. So it's 2 days, hour and a half each day. I know some of you have attended virtual conferences. My ADD, I can't sit through 4 hours. That's why I said, no, we're not going to do 4 hours in one day. I can barely sit through a live presentation, much less this. So we're going to break it up to an hour and a half. Same format, a lot of questions, and we'll do that. So we're looking forward to that. And finally, last plug, Katie, your forgiveness guide. You continually update that. What's the latest thing the latest thing is you're not doing anything until Congress passes something. Then you're going to have a big rewrite.
Yeah, if Congress passes this new bill, I think we're probably going to end up with a lot more information on forgiveness. I don't know if forgiveness is totally written into that bill. I know there was some things about blanket forgiveness possibly being in it. If that's the case, then this is really going to deeply change this. I think that 95-page line is wrong, though, now, because I think we're now over 100. But I did go through and detail, especially with those new forms that recently came out. I included all of those and walked you through how to fill them out. So I believe that's now close to 111 pages. But it is a great guide, and we've been updating it regularly.
You've done a good job on that. It's in fact, we're doing hard copies. Have you been able to solve your hard copy problem yet, Katie?
We're working on it. Hopefully soon after we'll get that figured out.
We're working with the printing on demand company, and it'll be solved soon. Okay, real quick, and then obviously we had our PPP updated webinar today. We've postponed that till next Tuesday because we wanted to get all this latest information what's happening with Congress. Katie, good job. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll have John Riosti joining us for the American Banker, and thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.